after Collaborate, AI, and Booking is the planner. So if it's just you mentioned, maybe we could do a paper planner or automatic. But if we have a lot of people involved, the paper is going to get too challenging. So we probably ought to use something online. And that will be a place where we put research data, figure out the guests, the topics, the books, the ideas. And then the last takeaway that I really was getting from you is that more preparation can be beneficial for a podcaster. I want to talk a little bit about how to finish automating this.
Yeah, just going into a lot more of the tools and tips as far as being more efficient in this process. I think that the workflows overall for me and being prepared is just about being efficient. I've learned that my content is a lot better. Like before I go and sit down and record, I need to know what my topic is, what my key points are, if I have any research to back up those key points. I think that when you present content in that fashion, then it's just it just sticks so much harder. For me, one of the main things I do is I have the topic and I have a key point that ties to each step. So I have like maybe 4 or 5. And then under those, I'll have either data that backs up what I'm saying or a story, right? And that makes my content 10 times better because it resonates with people and it'll teach them something. So that's really impactful.
Can you share any story that is stuck to a piece of content? Is there time for you and the amount of time you've got for this interview to just share a story with the listener and show them what the takeaway was so that we can utilize stories as well?
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories to tell when it comes to this whole workflow stuff and why it matters so much to me, because when I first started podcasting in my first 6 months, at this point in time in my life, it was all basketball. I was training. I was still playing in college. I was playing on a pro team, a pro-am team. I had spot to coach a team as well. Everything was basketball. I was blogging and everything. So I started a basketball podcast. And the show was really successful really, really early. I mean, immediately. And that was amazing because it led me to getting sponsored super early and to finding celebrity guests really, really early. So I had the chance to interview Darius Miles and Corey Maggette. If you don't know, they were guys that played, I would say they're veterans in NBA, played for the LA Clippers. So at this point in time, I was just high, oh my God, I'm interviewing NBA players. My goal at that point in time was to have this big media brand and podcasting and basketball focus, kind of like Blue Wire Pods is now. One day I woke up and I tried to turn my computer on and it just wouldn't turn on. And it was a really old MacBook, so I knew this would happen. And I kept telling myself, maybe I should prepare for this computer to die on me because it might die. This was like a 9-10-year-old computer. And I kept hitting it to turn it on. Eventually, the computer turns on. And as soon as it turns on, I start looking at my files immediately, where is my content? And I don't know how it happened to this day. I have no idea, but it erased all my content. All the files on my computer were gone. All the content I just recorded was gone. So I preach workflow so much because there's nothing more painful than having really good content and you didn't save it correctly because of your workflows. And at that point in time, obviously, I wasn't even doing the interviews correctly. I was just too excited to do it. So I wasn't prepared for anything. So I don't want anybody else to have to run into something like that where they kind of hit their peak in a specific niche or market to where they can climb up the mountain a lot faster. I kind of had a fast way in, but right after that happened, my show fell off a cliff because I lost content. I didn't lose just those 2 interviews. I lost a ton. It was 10. So that is when I learned that workflows are important. So now part of my workflow is to save my content in 3 different places, book my interviews more properly. I even do follow-ups. I have something I call a podcast alumni program where people that have been on my show, I have their email and their name and stuff. And I just reach out to them, periodically to see how they're doing, what they're working on, what they're promoting, all of that stuff. And these little strategies here and there are the things that help you long-term in your journey of business and creating content.